everyone. Welcome to another Something Bad Thursday, and today I thought it would be interesting to talk about why I think ultimately censoring speech is a bad thing, and why I think it sort of goes against everything that we as sort of a democracy slash republic sort of stand for. Um, now, censoring speech has become something that's, I think, a little bit more prominent nowadays. Um, and sort of the discussion has sort of come up again as far as to what you can say and what your words mean and all this kind of stuff. And instead of actually um, having an actual conversation as far as the provocative or or a, or controversial language, instead of having a genuine conversation, it seems like we would rather just silence people instead of just letting them sort of talk and express ideas and actually enhance a dialogue between people. And I think, again, the way in which we have free speech, I think it's primarily designed for a means of communication and for us to really talk about things and have ideas because words are really powerful. Um, I don't believe in this whole idea that, words don't have any significance or importance. Um, I think that they do have power, they do have emotions, and they have meanings. Obviously, people can have feelings as far as what people say on certain topics and on what language that they use, but at the end of the day, regardless of what you feel as far as the words, I think it's more so important to let people just kind of express their ideas, and then ultimately you decide who to listen to and who you think um, offers a sort of viewpoint that you can identify with, and also listen to people that you may disagree with. I mean, I think that's really the important thing as far as speech is concerned. And some, at least back within the 20th century, I think more so the focus was on censoring certain words because they may or may not have been sensitive to kids. Now, I'm of the opinion that I think kids can take it. Um, Obviously, I think we should try to teach children to have, you know, um, to not have a potty mouth all the time. But I think not exposing them to certain words just because it's maybe provocative or maybe they don't understand it is, I think, something that's, again, you obviously can't really control even nowadays with the internet, but back in the 20th century that seemed to be where the censoring was coming in, because people were afraid that kids in particular would hear certain words and take those words on and sort of use them in everyday common language. And again, I don't think that just because there are some provocative things that are in the world, I don't think that means that we have to, coddle the kids just because they hear maybe a certain word that's maybe not necessarily as appropriate. Um, and I think it's more so important to talk with your kids about language and things like that, and actually create a dialogue from it instead of just saying, "Oh no, you can't say that. That's a bad word." Just kind of talk about what the words mean and what their significance is and why, you know, people say maybe certain words or whatnot. I think that's more so educating kids instead of shunning them from reality. So that was really the main concern within the 20th century, and I think that was sort of a bad thing, and I think it discouraged parents from actually, uh, you know, opening kids up to things that were maybe not necessarily as a PC, to say the least. Now, within the 21st century, the censoring of speech seems to come more so from different sources. Um, it seems to be more so, um, it's sort of the isms now. Um, oh, this invokes racism, this invokes sexism, this invokes whatever ism you can think of. It's really the essence of the way in which sort of the whole censoring of speech is concerned. And again, it is trying to be PC. It's the same. It's the it's the same animal in different kind of, I guess, wolf clothing, if that's the way in which the phrase goes. I mean, it's pretty much just trying to figure out ways into, oh, you can't say this because it might hurt somebody's feelings, or it's provocative, and oh, it may have some semblance in truth, but it shouldn't say because it's not really the most nicest thing to say in the world, and all that kind of stuff. I think you know that kind of thinking, I think, really does limit our ability to, again, have dialogue and actually talk about the whatever isms that these people who want to censor other people think that there is. And instead, they just want to act like everything is an ism now that you say that may or may not be somewhat provocative. And I think this largely stems based within history more so. Whereas within the 20th century, it was just primarily, I think, just using bad language, like using cuss words and whatnot. But within the 21st century, the isms have sort of a historical attachment to them. And you can obviously look this stuff up and you can sort of see where I'm coming from. But really, it's almost like taking certain aspects of history and saying, oh, you can't do that because that's invokes certain things that were sort of part of a past that maybe doesn't even really exist anymore. So again, it's just another way in which speech is sort of controlled in certain respects, and I think it more so has to do with just individuals more so trying to censor other people, and you know uh, and trying to make everything seem like everybody's trying to be offensive when really they're not. They're not trying to really be offensive. They're just trying to make a joke out of something, or they're just trying to invoke some kind of ideas that may or may not be controversial. And and I think not having a genuineness to dialogue. And again, I think oftentimes to the censoring of speech comes down to like name calling. And this again comes from a variety of different sources, and it doesn't belong to any one specific group. I mean, everybody seems to be calling everybody some kind of ist or some kind of ism, and instead of really genuinely trying to have a conversation, they just name call and belittle the person. And I think and again, this comes from everybody, like everybody, and comes from, I mean, a lot of different groups, meaning it doesn't belong exclusively to one particular demographic of people or group of people. It seems like that this is coming from a variety of different sources, and instead of trying to kind of listen to one another, instead we just kind of yell and get mad and then call the person a whatever name. And this is a way of, again, sort of censoring the speech and sort of stopping people from kind of, I guess, talking, so to speak. So again, it's very interesting to see how this sort of censoring of speech has evolved over the years. I think, this sort of battle as far as censoring speech will always be still a big issue. I think eventually we will get over it. I think it's just only a matter of time before people just kind of, sort of get over the certain things that people say. Because I think you can only let words have an effect on you if you really take it too personally. And I think the important thing is the more or less personally you take it, the less likely it really impacts you, or you really think about it all too much. So I again, and I think again there should be obviously I think a lot more dialogue and a lot less yelling and calling people names and whatnot. I think there should be a lot less of people trying to divide themselves and uh, and I think this whole censoring of speech is really what's doing this, and I think it's really bad, and I think it causes a lot of damage, unfortunately. Um, but I'd be more than happy to hear what anybody has to say as far as this topic is concerned. But I think that's really ultimately all I can say, though. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year, and I hope to see you on the next video. I should be back on Sunday. Friday, Saturday, I'll be busy, but I'll be back then. But until next time.